Although young Sheldon's spin-off is titled Georgie and Mandy's First Marriage, it is not yet clear just how much of the sitcom's plot this name gives away. Young Sheldon's finale answered a lot of plot holes left open by The Big Bang Theory, but the spin-off left one mystery unsolved. The Big Bang Theory Season 11, Episode 23, The Sibling Realignment, finally introduced viewers to Sheldon's older brother Georgie. Georgie was a successful business owner who ran a chain of tire stores, but all was not well in his personal life. In his first appearance, he mentioned an ex-wife. As such, viewers knew that young Sheldon's Georgie would someday grow up to marry and divorce a romantic partner. When young Sheldon's supporting star had a child with the local weather girl Mandy, it became increasingly obvious that this was his future ex-wife. This is where young Sheldon's spin-off Georgie and Mandy's First Marriage comes in. The forthcoming series will explain why Mandy and Georgie separated even though the pair seemed as if they were made for each other in young Sheldon. In doing so, Georgie and Mandy's First Marriage will also justify the sitcom's strange title. Despite the series bringing back many of young Sheldon's actors, the title of Georgie and Mandy's First Marriage proves that Sheldon's brother and his wife will be the show's main focus. This marks a major shift from young Sheldon, which focused primarily on its title character and his parents. Sheldon's father, George Sr., died in the antepenultimate episode of The Big Bang Theory spin-off, and this event contributed to the growing religious zealotry of his mother, Mary. Without George Sr. around, and with Sheldon studying science in California, young Sheldon's first spin-off couldn't continue to split its screen time among the Cooper clan. As such, Georgie and Mandy's First Marriage alters young Sheldon's formula by making Georgie and Mandy the show's central focus and relegating Missy, Mary, and Meemaw to the sidelines. Mandy's parents, the McAllisters, will likely play as big a role in the spin-off as Mary and George Sr. did in young Sheldon. This not the only change viewers can expect from the new show. Georgie and Mandy's First Marriage is a multi-camera sitcom like The Big Bang Theory, not a single-camera show like young Sheldon. This aesthetic change will lend the show a more traditional network sitcom tone. That said, Georgie and Mandy's First Marriage's title proves that the show's story could be anything but traditional. Although Georgie and Mandy married young, the pair already enjoyed an unconventional courtship that caused a stir in their small-minded hometown. Georgie and Mandy had a child out of wedlock, resulting in Mary and the Cooper family being temporarily banned from Pastor Jeff's church. Although the furor over this event did die down, Mandy and Georgie didn't immediately conform to social expectations. The duo continued to date other people for the first few months of their baby's life before getting together in Season 6, judging by the title of Georgie and Mandy's First Marriage. Like young Sheldon's Meemaw, the duo aren't concerned by the gossip surrounding their choices. Since The Big Bang Theory already revealed the pair's marriage eventually ends in an inevitable separation, it is no surprise that their spin-off's title called the union their first marriage. However, this also slyly implies that Georgie and Mandy might come full circle by reconciling and remarrying later in life, something series star Emily Osment suggested in an interview with TV Line. When it was announced that the beloved couple Georgie and Mandy would be receiving their own spin-off series, fans immediately began speculating about the direction the show would take. The excitement reached a fever pitch when the title of the show was revealed, Georgie and Mandy, Their First Marriage. At first glance, the title seems relatively straightforward, but upon further reflection, it becomes clear that this seemingly simple phrase holds deeper significance. The decision to label it Their First Marriage is not just a clever marketing tactic, but a layered narrative choice, providing hints about the characters' growth, the show's themes, and the complexities of relationships in modern-day storytelling. The inclusion of first in the title is a curious choice. The word immediately conjures images of other possible marriages, second, third, or even more. So why first? What does it imply about Georgie and Mandy's relationship, and how might it influence the course of their story in this spin-off? At the heart of the title is the notion of beginnings, change, and the idea that this marriage could represent a fresh start for both characters. It's not just about the wedding itself or the union, but the challenges, growth, and transformation that will inevitably accompany this first step. Both Georgie and Mandy have experienced their fair share of turmoil and drama, both in their personal lives and within the context of their ongoing relationships. Calling their marriage their first suggests that there are unresolved tensions or new experiences to be explored, even though they've been through the motions of romantic involvement in the past. By placing first in the title, the series hints at the complexity of relationships today. The idea of marriage, especially in the modern world, is no longer a singular, unchanging commitment. It has evolved into a more fluid, multifaceted concept. Georgie and Mandy's relationship, though rooted in history, may be about to enter new and uncharted territory. For fans of the show, this opens up a new dimension of storytelling. The question of what constitutes a first marriage, when life is filled with twists and turns that often defy traditional expectations. To truly understand the significance of first marriage, it's essential to look at Georgie and Mandy's journey up until this point. For much of the original series, viewers watched as their relationship grew from a slow-burn romance into something much more serious and meaningful. While their chemistry was undeniable, the path to a committed relationship was not without obstacles. Georgie, a character known for his quirks and complex personality, has always been one to resist traditional conventions. He's a free spirit, but over time, Mandy has helped ground him. Her steady, supportive nature made her a perfect counterpart for Georgie, but even with this harmony, the road to their eventual marriage was far from simple. For Georgie, the idea of marriage was often a topic of hesitation. His past relationships were marred by a sense of uncertainty, and he was never fully convinced that he was capable of committing in the traditional sense. Mandy, on the other hand, had experienced her own share of heartbreak. Her past relationships had led to disappointment, and the idea of forever felt more like an idealized fantasy than a real possibility. However, as their relationship grew, it became clear that they had something different, something special that transcended their individual pasts. Their first engagement, filled with passion and promise, seemed to be the logical next step. But life, as it tends to do, threw curveballs their way, forcing both Georgie and Mandy to reevaluate what marriage meant to them individually and as a couple. Their journey to the altar was not a straight line. It was one filled with highs and lows, joy and confusion, commitment and doubt. In Georgie and Mandy, their first marriage, the term first carries more symbolic weight than just the label of their initial wedding. It serves as a reflection of both characters' growth and transformation throughout their journey together. When Georgie and Mandy marry in the spin-off, it's not merely a reflection of their decision to tie the knot, but a statement about where they are in life. It signifies a new beginning, not just for their relationship, but for themselves as individuals. This first marriage is a metaphor for their personal evolution. It suggests that the marriage that viewers are about to witness will be a marked departure from their previous understanding of love, commitment, and partnership. It's a marriage that is defined not by traditional norms, but by how Georgie and Mandy redefine their own version of what it means to be a couple. They have already proven they can navigate difficulties and challenge the norms of romance, but now they're ready to face the trials of marriage with a deeper, more mature perspective. In essence, calling it first might indicate that this is the first time they are truly ready for such a commitment. Perhaps their prior experiences, individually or as a couple, have prepared them for this moment. The marriage that will unfold on screen may be characterized by a fresh approach, one that incorporates the lessons learned from their past struggles. The title First Marriage also speaks to broader societal shifts in how we view love and commitment. The traditional model of marriage, where two people meet, fall in love, marry and live happily ever after, is becoming less of a dominant narrative. Today, many people experience multiple relationships before finding the right partner. In many ways, Georgie and Mandy's title reflects this evolution of how relationships are viewed in the modern world. It's less about the idea of one true love, and more about the journey of finding a partner who aligns with your values, supports your growth, and is willing to face the ups and downs of life with you.